Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modelling tutorial. And today in this episode we're going to continue with our Ford GT. We're looking quite good so far. I'm just laying down a base mesh to start to make some changes to a little bit later on. I'm thinking what we might do today is we could have a look down here, but maybe what we'll do is we'll continue a little bit with the roof and see how we can get on with this. So let's reformat some of this geometry. So we're starting to get the base shape together. Let's maybe, I'm going to drop an edge from here to here, and then I'm going to use this little corner here to go along here, and then down here, maybe something like that. And then what that will allow me to do is that will allow me to grab realistically all these edges along here. I'm just going to hold down Control and hit delete on there. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to maybe format this a little bit nicer so it's all going to look and work a little bit better. And we don't need this edge anymore, so I'm going to hold Control and hit delete on there. Now what we could maybe do as well is let's take our multi-cut tool and I'm going to draw a line in here. It's going to go roughly to the same spot, but this time it's going to go from this point instead. And then I can get rid of this edge here. And what this is going to allow our geometry to do is it's going to allow it to form down here quite nicely. And then this bit's going to go off to this side. So it just means that it's all not really getting to a pinch point here. It's starting to run off and move into a lot of different directions. So we've kind of used a kind of kite method in there to split all that up nicely. Let me go and just add my edge slide. And I'm just going to go in here, just have a go at making this all a little bit nicer. So we're going to want to add a bit more to the curve here, maybe inside there. And then with this one, maybe what we could do is we could maybe pull this one over here a little bit, just to kind of get better distance between the different edges inside there. So that's looking quite nice. And again, this is the kind of idea with everything, John. We put a little bit of a base mesh down, and then we can go in, we can retopologize everything, make everything look nice and a whole lot cleaner. Let's maybe take this, I'm going to remove my edge, and we're going to pull that up like that. We'll maybe do the same here, and just there as well, just to help that a little bit more. So that's looking a lot better. So what we will be able to do now is we could insert a couple more loops. Let's maybe just go for one for now. We'll grab that one in the side here, and this is going to help us format everything in terms of this curvature as we go there. Now we can see that all those edges that we've added in haven't really done much to kind of help us with the curve. So maybe what we'll do is we'll use a combination of our views here. So we can see we've got our side view there. We're going to use a combination of our views, different views, to kind of put this together. So that edge is looking okay, that vertices. Let's maybe take that one up as well. You can see this one needs a lot more work. This one needs to be much higher, something much more like that. And then that will allow us to take these ones a little bit higher potentially, and then the rest is kind of looking okay. So we can see that this is the point that we kind of want to get to. So that's going to allow us in our perspective view to grab all the subsequent points, and we can pull these up. And we just want to get a nice smoothness to this roof, because it's not got any really crazy angles in it. It's not really got too much going on. It is quite flat, so we want all of that to flow around there quite nice. And then the more kind of complex geometry we have, the more potential that we have for things to go a little bit wrong. So we'll just go through, we'll make sure we're happy with all of that. And then if we hit 3, and let me just get rid of the wireframe, we can see that that's quite nice and smooth, and we're starting to get a little bit of a crease in there, which will help us a little bit later on too. So I think that's looking a lot better in terms of geometry for our roof up there, which is good. Having this large gap here as well means that we're going to be able to drop more geometry down here. If we need to, again, we could come in here and pull as many of these as far back as we can in order to free up more and more space inside there. But for now, I think that's going to be okay. So let's maybe have a think then about our rear wheel arch here. So we can see that this one's considerably larger than the one in the front. which we brought this in from. So let's maybe get that in position here. We want to get it in position at the back. Supercars generally have a wider track on the rear, so we'll want to make sure we're pulling that out to reflect that. I do have a back view in here, which we're going to be utilizing. We can already see that it's not looking too bad. Let me grab this one. So see that it's not looking too bad already in terms of how everything's lining up. So let's maybe jump in here then and start to format some of these. So I don't think we're going to need this face down here. And let's just start to kind of pull all of these into position around here. Drop that there. This one's going to be part of the little reflector that we have. Or maybe chuck one in the center. And then this one can form the top. I don't think we'll need both of these edges, so I'll maybe get rid of this one. That'll allow me to pull this one down here and into position on maybe the underside. We have this bit here. I think we'll maybe actually want one there, because we'll probably need a little bit of help when it comes to this portion. So let's maybe drop that in there. Everything else around there looks okay. I want to start stretching this one out here a little bit. I'll do something like that. Okay, so I think that's looking okay. Let's maybe jump into our back view. And we'll start to put all of these in position along here. And we can see it's already got some curvature to it, because obviously this is a carbon copy of the front one, and that we flipped over a little bit of a while ago. Okay, and we can see from there it's starting to get a bit more vertical. So maybe come in just a little bit. Okay, and then in our perspective view, just like we did at the front, we're just going to want to come in here, and we just want to make sure that it's all got some nice curves to it. It's not looking too jagged. I'm looking at the front here, and I'm thinking the front's looking okay. As we come around, we can see that's curving underneath quite nicely. There is a little bit of curve to the rear here as it comes forward to meet this section. Let's maybe grab some of these edges. So I'm going to take, I'll maybe take all of these. I'm going to hit Control E and pull that out. And with these, let's maybe just go something like that. And this over here. Let's maybe go all the way over. Okay, so we're starting to form the shape of the car there. We can see that we're quite a ways off, so let's take this and bring it in here. I'm just going to do the kind of start of that there. And then we can see with all of these, we're going to want to bring all of these in, something like that. Okay, so we're getting a nice kind of move in there. That's looking okay. Let's maybe take just these three this time. I'm going to hit Control E. Let's go again. And maybe we'll want to go something like that. Okay. And again, double check our view here and push that in. It does look like this one though. We want to be out here. Okay. And then we're just wanting to double check everything in our perspective view. Making sure we're looking good around there, which I think we are for the most part. And then we can see here that these are all going to meet up down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. This is only going to be temporary. And I'm going to drop in two. Let's actually not do that. Let's drop in one just here and then one just here. Okay, do that. And then I'm simply going to grab each of these. I'm going to hold down V. And I'm going to snap to all of those vertex that I've created there. And then I'm going to go back in here. I'm just going to remove them. So like I said, we will have a go at taking those further down in a little bit. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to use this to help me formulate the rest here. Because we can see that this is going nice and straight, but then it's tucking in. So we're going to use this almost as like a guide. So wanting this to run all the way along there. We're going to want that to do the same. Something like that. And then we want this to form nicely too. Okay, so we're going to get that running in there nice and straight, which looks good. What we'll maybe want is this line here, we'll maybe have this run up here. Something like that instead. Yeah, I think that will look nice. And then that'll allow us to maybe drop a point up here. We could take one and drop one maybe up here. And then that will allow us to get rid of those, holding Control and Delete. So that's just going to help us form this curve a lot nicer as we go down there. It'll help our geometry run a lot smoother as well as it runs up and along and over the wheel arch rather than coming in and intersecting with it. So we'll do something like that. So that looks like it should be quite nice. And then we're going to want these here. I want to make sure we're looking good down here too. Okay. So starting to get the idea of how that's going to run up in there, so it looks like that's going to be quite nice. Let's maybe continue this around then. So let's grab all of these. I'm going to hit Control E. I'm going to pull these up. And what we're going to want to do with these, I think, is these are going to want to start to form this portion up here. So this kind of goes up and over in regards to the section of the roof that drops down. So we'll do something like that. Just accentuate that up there. So that's going to go up like so. And then we do have that line drawn into the drawings here, which is nice. So we already know that this, we want to go over there. You can see that that's going to run along there nicely. Let's take this one and go up here. And the next one. I'm just going to run all of these along this line. Like so. That's looking nice. And then that will allow us to grab our insert edge loop. And we're going to drop it down here. And I'm just going to maybe drop it a bit higher there. And then pull that out. So we're getting some nice curvature to this. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll pull that out here. And then what I'll do is let's maybe target weld the underside. So we'll target weld that one up. So again, we can maybe grab these ones here and pull these out just a little bit as well. just to help with that additional curve as it runs up there. So that's looking quite nice. Although it does look like I accidentally target welded a bunch of stuff, so let's go back and do that. And we'll just quickly do the same thing. We'll take those out a little bit. Okay, so that's looking quite good. Going around the rear of the car here, it does look like we've got like this little extra crease going up here as it goes towards the tail light. So let's maybe think about how we can join these sections here. So we are going to need to add a couple more lines. So maybe what we'll do is we'll maybe make it so that what we have with these ones, if we push these along a little bit, just make sure they're still good on here. So we'll push these along a little bit as well. Let me just go and grab my edge transform. I'll just pull that one back and this one back too. Okay, so that's going to go form over there. So we've got this line that meets up here, this one meets there. So we just really need right now to add one more edge up here. So we'll drop that down there. We are going to want to use this to go and help build our curve. Let me just turn that off. Okay. In our top view, we can maybe now start to form this a little bit nicer. And then I think what we'll want to do with this is we'll maybe want this to be maybe something like that. I don't know if we can see this from our rear view. Not really, but it does look like we're not sitting quite high enough at the front there or up here. We're also not as far down as we should be. Okay, so I think something like that looks okay. And then what that will allow us to do is, maybe we'll do it with this bit, is we could take these, but before we do, let's just double check. Make sure this is flowing exactly how it should before we start extruding anything. Okay. And then I'm just going to simply grab these. I'm going to hold down V and we'll snap these over there. And then this one we'll maybe take over here. Okay, and then down there. So that's looking quite nice. I think that's reflecting the true shape of the car quite nicely, which is good. We do have a side skirt down here that we want to think about. Before we do, I'm going to take this wheel over. We'll get this positioned inside here. Just going to hold down D and V. I'm going to stick the pivot right on the bottom there, just in case we need to increase the size of the wheel, which we do. And by adding the pivot to the bottom and then increasing the size there, means that it's not going to end up going underneath as well as above. Okay, and then let's maybe check our back. I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm just aligning this again just so it kind of helps us out. And take that over. Okay. So that's a mighty big wheel at the back there, so that's looking quite nice in terms of the curve and everything around there. We do have an additional part of a side skirt to have a look at too, but I think maybe what we could do is we could have a go moving around the rear of the car here. So let's maybe take all of these, hit Control E, and let's pull these across. And realistically, we're going to want to spend as much time on the rear of the car here as we did on the front. So we're going to take a little bit of time here to kind of go around. I think that up here, maybe take that down there. And then up there. Okay. Let's take a look at our rear views as well. Let me just add all of these here. Oops. Let's add the selected objects so I can hide them. Okay, so let's go and take some of these then, and we'll move them across into position. Goes over there. Do something like that. So just really trying to start to form that rear of the car up there too. And let's maybe, for now, I'm going to grab just this one edge. I'm going to hit Control E. I'm going to take this all the way over here. Like so. I'm going to hold X. Let's take these over to the middle. So do something like that. Okay, so we'll add some edge loops in here as well. Let's get some curvature to this. So we want to think about where these loops are going to go, because we've got a lot of information inside here. So it's quite obvious that we're going to want a loop to run just here. We have this section cutouts for the exhaust in there, so that's going to be probably the trickiest part of this area of the car. Let's bring these out here. Something like that. Looks like it's maybe a little bit too tall just now. Take that down. And then insert some edge loops again. We've got like circular portions here, so I'm going to drop one just on the outside of where that circular area would be. I don't know if that's going to correlate to this area of the bumper, but we'll take it out there just now. Something like that. And again, let's just, if I can select it, let's just grab these here and just help kind of form that a little bit more. And then let's go and grab, we'll maybe do one more right in the center here. Something like that. And again, form that curve a little bit more. And I'm just going to do maybe one more. We'll go right in the middle of those two there, and we'll pull that out too. Okay, so we can see that we're running nice and smoothly out to that bit around the back, which is quite good. Okay, so this bit here, it looks a bit darker on this blueprint, but it's actually part of the same portion of the bumper, so we'll need to remember that. Let me just adjust these a little bit here, so that's all looking a little bit smoother. Okay. We could maybe think about what's going on up here. We can see we've got a couple of creases, and just trying to see on the reference images here what we're kind of looking at. So it doesn't actually look like it's as creased as it's letting on. So for example, this bit here where this joins, that's not a major crease. It does look like this bit we want to run all the way up there. So see where we've got this double line here, we want a double line to run all the way up there too, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. This bit here is an actual crease line, but it only starts at about this point. But I think what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take all of that, so all of this here, but not this one, is going to want to run along there, because we are going to, maybe we will take that one, maybe we'll take all of these and hit Control E and just move along here, maybe just to the start of the spoiler there. Let's just pull them down. Let's check our rear view. Okay, so this, for example, we want to be much further up here. Something like that. This, we want to be more out to the side in line with that crease. We'll take that one more over here. Okay. This one we want to be up here. And we'll just use that one to kind of help keep the shape. So do something like that. Okay, so that's looking okay. Let's maybe take this all around here. I'm going to hit Control E, and I'm just going to maybe pull it in on the blue, and it doesn't matter how far, because I'm going to go back in here now, and I'm going to hit V and we're going to snap there. Let's maybe take all of these on our original piece here and just take them in just a little bit, something like that. We'll do that, and then I'm going to hold down V to snap to that point. I'm just going to move it away a little bit, and then we're just going to try and reflect that same shape just there. I'm going to do this on all of these here, so I'm holding V again, just creating a little bit of distance, and then we'll move that in. So we're just trying to uniformly run this all the way up. Again, holding V. Okay, so that's looking quite nice. So we've run that all the way up, and we've just tried to reflect the same kind of angle as what we have down there, which is good. Let me scroll down here. Okay, so yeah, so after that it then goes in, ready for the intakes at the side. So let's maybe quickly just do the same up here. It looks like we want to take all of these ones. We're going to hit Control E. I'm going to pull those down on the blue as well. And it's going to be the exact same process. Snap that down there. This one, it looks like we probably don't want to be quite as far. I'm just going to pull that down on the one axis this time. Hold V, pull that down, and then this one, maybe what we'll do is let's just target weld that one back up for now. Okay, so we have that portion there that runs all the way along, all the way up as part of that, which should look quite nice. We do have the same kind of idea on the rear side as well, but we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. So that's looking pretty good as it goes up there. The door inside here breaks into multiple kind of areas, and then that eventually runs down and in between here, which I don't think that should be too much of a problem. I think the hardest bit is really going to be underneath this kind of wing area, and then we have obviously the portions for the exhaust as well. So I think we'll stop there for today. We are starting to look really good, starting to take the shape quite nicely. Let's grab all of this again. hit Control D and Control G, and we'll go -1. So we can see that we're taking that shape really nice as we go along there. We do have a bit of mismatch in geometry in some areas, but again, we'll go through and we'll fix those as we build. Let's maybe just smooth that out a little bit more there. But yeah, we'll go through and we'll fix those again as we build. I've got an idea of how we're going to reform the geometry down here a little bit, make it a bit cleaner too. So we'll maybe do that at the start of the next episode, if I remember to do that at the start of the next episode. But I really want to start filling in these gaps and working along here as well. So if you enjoyed this episode, guys, please hit the thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.